Hello, I am back. I'm Rochelle. I'm the owner of Soul Activities, and I am a Black owned wellness business in the Los Angeles area. I am back, and this video is long, long, long overdue. Thank you for bearing with me, but this is something that I promised to put out both to people who are following me and as well as myself to hold myself accountable, but also to be a resource that I couldn't find. So when I decided that I wanted to start a sound healing business, I couldn't find anything in the wellness space that talked about how to get started. So because I couldn't find anything, I decided I would just create it. And in creating it, I want to document everything that I've done. I'm not worried about giving away information for free because I do feel like I'm one of a kind. I'm unique, just like you are. So even if you take this information and you do it play by play, word for word, it still won't look like what I'm doing because you're unique, just like I'm unique. So to share this information and not gatekeep was really important to me because I would have loved to have come across a video like this one. So I do want to do just a breakdown of what I've done, what I haven't done, what's worked, what hasn't worked as far as building this wellness business. So I do have about 10 sound baths under my belt now, but I will give you guys a timeline and just explain what I've done. And feel free to drop in the comments if you have some suggestions on things that I should also try, things that are promising and I should keep trying. And I'm open to any and all feedback. So I guess I'll just jump right in. So I went to my first sound bath. That'll be a separate video detailing that experience, but I experienced my first sound bath in November of 2023. It was amazing, magical, and long story short, I knew that I wanted that over and over and over again. The sense of peace and calm and just love and everything that was in the room, the energy was electric. It was magnetic. I wanted that and I couldn't find it. Long story short, when I got back to LA, I looked and I spent money and I drove to the middle of the desert and I did all these things trying to find my tribe, trying to find my people, and I just couldn't find it. So, because of that, I was like, I'm just going to start my own. I'm just going to start my own. Why not? So, it was something that I was so passionate about doing that in February of 2025, I just went all in. January, I kind of had spent researching a bit, seeing where I could take classes. There was like a class that was being held on my birthday weekend, and I was like, "Is this divine? Is this a divine timing, a sign type of thing?" Um, there was a few other ones that were being offered, but in the end, I was really eager to get started, and I decided I'm going to start with an online school. And so I started with a school called Life Changing Energy, which I will link them below. And I have my pros and my, I won't say cons, but not as pro, baby cons, I guess, about it. Nothing personal or that Life Changing Energy did or didn't do, but I will say that in taking a class like this and getting in, like one that you're entering a profession for, this is something that you truly need a tribe. And taking a class online, you are lacking your tribe. It was an asynchronous class. So I did it at my own time, on my own speed, my own pace. I did not have a classmate in the world. There was not a cohort or anything like that. It's all self paced. So obviously, you have to be motivated in order to complete it. But I did. And I was lonely. It was definitely very lonely. And I didn't realize how lonely it was until I completed the course and talked with a friend of mine who had become a sound healer a couple years before. And she had a cohort because she had done it in person and they all network together and send each other business, tell each other about venues, help each other to get work and to grow in the space. I was missing that. So that is something that I'm like, I really do wish. But if you are ready to get started and you're like, I do well, I can teach myself, I have the discipline, go for it. I think it's great. I think it's wonderful. Absolutely go for it. It gets you started, gets your feet wet, and I will say it's a fraction of the cost. That played a big part for me too. I did not just have thousands to put into a class. Typically, these classes are like 2-day classes and, maybe 5, 6 hours each day. So a total of like 12 hours. There is no accrediting board or body. So everybody's just kind of doing their own thing anyway. And I took all this into consideration when I made my decision to do my schooling with Life Changing Energy. They had great reviews. I also joined a Facebook group. I believe it's called Sound Healers Around the World or something like that. I can also link that below as well. But it was a community of, quite a few sound healers in all different spaces of the world. And I got my reviews from there as well. Of course, some people don't even take a class to get started. I did not have the courage or the confidence to start without taking a class. I'll just be very transparent. I definitely suffer from imposter syndrome or self doubt. And I needed some information. I needed some knowledge. And I felt like I owed that to my participants and my future clients to have at least a little bit of knowledge. I do have quite a bit of musical training in my background. So there's that as well. I'm not just as a naked ear coming in and I can't hear, harmonies, or I can't hear musical note changes, or what's can harmonize with what. I do have that background, a basic music, well, maybe a little more than basic music background. But once I put that with this online class, I did feel prepared enough. I just didn't feel like I had the network. Okay, so moving on. What else did I do? One of the small things that I did, just administrative wise, was social media. I created a name. And that took me some time. I'm not good with coming up with names. I hate when I have to come up with a screen name or an email or a username or whatever. So I did land on the like Soul Activities called to me. I can't explain it any other way because I knew that what I wanted to do was more than just sound baths, and eventually am going to expand into international retreats. But I really want people to leave feeling fulfilled on a soul level. So I knew that soul needed to be in there because this is not feeding your physical. This is not feeding your, mental. I mean, it can play a part. They go hand in hand, but this is truly for your soul. At least where I'm coming from. The healing that I want to offer and the spaces I want to offer are for your soul. So I knew soul was going to be in there, but I also didn't want to pigeonhole myself with soul sounds or anything that was only sound baths. I knew I wanted to expand into more. So I went with soul activities to keep it kind of broad. And like I said, I went back and forth. Of course, I asked ChatGPT. I asked my best friends. They asked ChatGPT. And in the end, I wanted soul activities. I will also say I wanted soul activities because it's a broad word. It's not a word, but a broad name. I didn't want it to be like soul sisters or anything like that. I don't want to, um, I guess, not have anybody feel welcomed into my space. Although I do particularly want to provide service for women, it doesn't necessarily only have to be Black women. I think that spaces for Black women are unique and I think that they are necessary. I think that as a Black woman, the journey through this life, especially in this country, is unique. And I think the spaces need to be held, which I intend to do, but I didn't want to limit myself to only doing that. So I kept it broad and welcoming and open. So yeah, Soul Activities became the name. So I changed my name on YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram to Soul Activities by Ro. So yeah, that was what I went with. And it felt like a really good change. It felt right. So then I went and I created an email address. Soul Activities was taken. So I just went Soul Activities 333 I had been seeing 333 everywhere. My life path number is a 3. So I have 3 kids. Like 3 was just showing up. I'm sorry, I have 2 kids. There are 3 of us in the household. Like we are a little triad here. And it just was showing up everywhere in my life. The number 3, so Soul Activities 333 at Gmail. I made the Gmail address and snatched that up before anybody else did. Not that I don't know how common or how much in demand that could have been. I didn't want to take a chance. And then once I had my email and once I had my social media names, I then went and bought the domain. So I went to GoDaddy and I purchased the domain soulactivities.com. That was another big factor in choosing my name. Every time I looked for a name that I was like, I think I like that, I ran it through the domain search to make sure that it was available as a .com. I didn't want a .xyz, a dot whatever else. I'm not a nonprofit. I'm on the fence whether I will become one, but I didn't want it wasn't a .org, it wasn't a .edu, like it wasn't any of those things. So I decided to go ahead and whatever was available in a .com was what will be for me. So I went with soulactivities.com. Now, I do realize that having Soul Activities 333, Soul Activities by Row, those are all different names. I don't love that, and I'm not committed to keeping all 3 of those like different branding. I don't like that. It's a little messy for me. So, what I do like though is that I am being known as Soul Activities. So, I don't know. We'll see. Nothing is permanent, everything can be changed, and we'll see. I probably will end up getting a Rochelle at soulactivities.com email address. But at this time, it is what it is. And I just needed to make those steps to be making forward progress and keep it pushing. I didn't want anything that was gonna like become a barrier or anything that was stopping me from making forward progress, because it's so easy to get caught up in saying, oh, if I had this, then I would do that, or one day, or I didn't want all the what ifs and the maybes and the whenever this. I was like, this needs to happen. I'm making moves now. So that's that. So one thing that I did once I was like, okay, I have all this in place, I just got outside with my camera. I had a couple friends, just take pictures of me. I set up my tripod with my sound bowls and I threw on some clothes. I went out into a public space. I used my remote when I didn't have anybody with me. I went out about 3 times, twice with friends, like 2 separate times with separate friends, and then by myself. And I just took pictures. I recorded videos. I had my friends kind of walk around me and make videos, and I can try to insert some of them in here, but these are the videos that I was like, this will be my promo content. This is what I'm going to introduce myself to the world as a sound healer using these videos. So that's what I did. I started to release them on Instagram, on TikTok, even on here on YouTube. So to make it easier for myself, what I would do is I would post a TikTok, because then you can easily save it to your phone without any sort of branding once it's posted. And then I would take that same video and take it over to Instagram, maybe put it in my story or put it on my page, as a reel, and then I would come to YouTube and also post it here. And so from that, I got a lot of visibility. And I started to do that with anything I posted on TikTok. I also reposted on YouTube, because I knew in the end, YouTube is where I really wanted to be. So I started to grow my following. I had this YouTube channel for probably a year, over a year, and I didn't post consistently or enough or anything. So my follower count was like 25. And over the last few months, not that it's just so huge, but I'm thankful for every follower and subscriber I get. So now I'm almost at 300. And so it happened really fast. It happened really, really fast once I got serious and I got consistent and intentional with the content that I was actually posting. So I started to see growth in all these areas. I started talking about what is a sound bath? Who is a sound bath for? And I just took a leap of faith and I went on to Peerspace. I looked for spaces to rent. I actually, before I looked for spaces to rent, I have a friend who I mentioned before who was already a sound healer. She was in the cohort. She had friends. She just hadn't truly like started to put herself out there and build her business yet. But as I got mine, we motivated each other. And so she was like, you know what? I'm actually performing. I have a spot locked in like Thursday nights for the next 3 months. So one of those months she wasn't able to go. So she asked me if I could fill in for her. I did. That was my first time using Eventbrite, selling a ticket, but it was some pretty last minute. I had like 2 weeks to promote it. So which was fine. But I only sold like 2 tickets. In the end, one person came. It was my best friend, and it was an amazing experience. It was so much to be learned, but there was a lot of pressure that I didn't feel because she was my best friend. I did the sound bath for her, the same way I had practiced performing them at home for my kids, for my mom, for whoever would listen for free, for myself. And I did it the same way, and within about 15 minutes, I heard her like lightly snoring, like kind of breathing heavy. And I was like, yes, I did it. I did it. This is my goal, is to make people so relaxed and have that nervous system reset. I did it. And I just felt so good. And yeah, it was great. So it kind of gave me that momentum, that fire under me. And I would bounce ideas off another best friend. And I was like, I'm gonna rent a space. Like, I'm just going to find a space and rent it. So I looked on Peerspace and I finally found a place. It took some time. It took a few weeks. I had quite a bit of criteria. Like, I knew my brand. I knew that what I wanted. I knew that my brand, although it's for women and women of color, I refuse to have it be anything less than excellent. I want people to feel amazing when they come. I want it to be an elevated experience. I thought about putting elevated in the name. And so I really wanted this elevated experience for people. With that said, it took me a little time to find the right venue. I found one in Manhattan Beach and it was beautiful, it was wonderful. Came with everything so that my clients could come with absolutely nothing, and they have a yoga mat, a blanket, they have a pillow, they have all the things. And I just knew this is it. And I penciled in a date. I created an Eventbrite, and the rest is history. I had a sound bath and had maybe 6 or 7 people show up. And for me, that was a success. I felt so, so, so good about it. Since then, I have also done free ones. I've done outside in the park. I've done across the street from the ocean. I have learned that I don't like outside so much. It gives me a lot of anxiety because like I said, I want this elevated experience for my clients. And the last time I did outside, the police ended up down the street like arresting somebody about 5 minutes before I started. And it wasn't, if you know anything about arrest in LA, it couldn't have just been a police officer. No, it was like 5 cars, one after another, pulling up, sirens on. I was stressed. I was like, I will never again. I can't with outside. And if I do, it has to be kind of elevated or away from the street. So yeah, I prefer a venue. So since then, I've tried to put on these events. I've reached out to other people that I've seen on TikTok or Instagram who are in the healing space, and I've just asked to talk to them and just ask them, how has your experience been? What can you tell me about getting started? What should I do? What should I not do? Where should I start? Just please help, pretty much. And I have met some of the most amazing, beautiful souls that have been so willing to help me. And I will say, no shade, but when I was in real estate, nobody helped anybody. They did not care. It was like, how much are you going to pay me for my information? And it was just kind of like, I just want to know if Tuesday night's a good night to host an event. Like, can you just, just can you just tell me that? So I am really appreciative to everybody I've come across within this space that has just offered me information without a price tag. And that's pretty much everybody that I've talked to. And I'm trying to I have an event coming up November 9th here in LA, and I actually paired up with a friend of mine who owns another business which is called 20 Generations. So we are hosting a sound bath event that is not your typical sound bath. It is not, just we lay down, we do the sound bath, we go home. This one is about 3 hours, so it's more retreat style. So it's getting me a little closer to my dreams. And we will be talking, having a conversation. I have started to add sister circles and guided conversations to my menu of things that I offer. So we'll have the guided sister circle, we'll have some networking time. We have a wine vendor who will be there. So we'll have some red wine, white wine, and of course, we'll have some tea for the tea girlies too. And, just really having these healing conversations. And yeah, I'm so proud of the space that I'm creating and what I'm putting out into the world. I've never done anything that has felt right on a soul level. I've always done things that it feels like I need to make money, I need a job. And this is not that. And this is definitely not that. I hope to make money from this one day in a way that I can support myself. That is the goal, of course. But I feel so right in doing this. And I know that just following my intuition, I'm on the right path. And it feels good. It feels really, really good. So it was very important for me to document my journey for everybody to be able to follow as a blueprint or at least know if you're on the right track. Before I wrap this video up, there is one last thing that I have done that it did not go all that great for me, but I won't say don't try it. So one thing that I have done and found to be, I don't know, I'm planting seeds. It's a numbers game. I know that. I was a real estate agent, but it's a numbers game. And I reached out to all of the local yoga studios near me and I just simply asked, do you have any sort of capacity, space, or interest for either renting out your space or doing maybe a joint session where people do yoga or meditate while I give a sound bath? I got little to no response. And I sent it out to over 10 venues, went to neighboring cities and things, got little to no response. So it's a numbers game. So I just have to send out way more and just kind of follow up and maybe even pop up on some people. But I'm not deterred by that. I just know that I have to be proactive in finding what works and what doesn't. I also messaged like group homes, senior living facilities, and just reached out to them and said, explained the therapeutic benefits of sound baths. So I have not heard back from them, but again, numbers game. I will reach back out and say, hey, the holidays are coming. Is this something that you may want to offer to your clients for a holiday, a little gift, some holiday cheer, a family event, family, whatever? I'll market it in some sort of way. But those are the things that I've done so far. I also did a promo event where I reached out to people within the wellness space in LA. So people who have yoga studios, who have Reiki healing, Reiki masters, theta healing, touch therapy, anybody within the space, the realm of any sort of healing. I reached out to them just to throw an event, a sound bath event that, of course, I just fronted the bill. There was no pay or anything like that. And like for me at least. And so, other than people coming and in exchange, I asked that they made content detailing the event. They did. I'm appreciative. I love it. It was promo for me and it was them getting to experience my work. So hopefully I'll get to work with some people and collaborate in the future. And then I'm trying to think if I have done anything else. I feel like there's at least one more thing that I've done. Um, But for the most part, I'm really just putting myself out there. And if I could tell you guys a few things to do, one would just be put yourself out there, believe in yourself. Another thing, get past the imposter syndrome. What is stopping you and what's holding you back? Do some shadow work and really figure out what the holdup is and make your dreams come true because nobody else will. If you have any questions at all, please, please, please drop them down below in the comments. I would love to answer them. If you have any feedback, I am so open to feedback, what you think would work. If you would like to network, please, please, please let me know. I did mention my email earlier, but I will link everything down below. And if you are just getting started on your journey with any sort of within the wellness space at all, I wish you the best of luck. If you have questions, please reach out to me the way that I was able to reach out to other people and they were able to be a light for me. I hope to be for you. Share this video with anybody who may be looking to get started, where to start. I can link everything down below and good luck with everything. Thank you so much. And don't forget to subscribe.